He eliminated over 50 G's of credit card debt and reduced his payments over $2,000 a month. Let's review. Before calling Team Hochberg, Billy was loaded with debt and struggled to make his monthly payments on time. After calling, Billy paid off all his credit cards, reduced his monthly payments over 2 G's a month, and eliminated an incredible amount of stress in his life. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of radio listeners pay off debt and substantially reduce their monthly payments, like we helped Billy, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. That number again is 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Homeside Financial Legal Housing Lender, NMLS 112461.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Woohoo! Happy Tuesday, everyone. Hope that you are happy, healthy, and safe wherever you are right now. And, of course, this is your conversation. I want to know what's on your mind. Our number is 773-763-WCPT. That's 773-763-9278. And wherever you are in the world right now, we ask you to join the conversation. Give us a call or text. If you text us, we understand completely. Not everybody is able to call in, but it's always lovely to hear your voices, just like Santita Jackson says every morning. And it was so many great conversations on Joan's show today. I was in my car in quite a bit of traffic. It's so funny over on on 90. If anyone takes the Kennedy going northbound toward O'Hare, you know that there's a lot of construction going on up by Cumberland, and it bottlenecks so hard especially if you're coming back into the city at the toll booths. And I'm looking forward to that hopefully being resolved with the way they're reconfiguring that area, that formation of the expressway. I was on the Kennedy because I had to go out to Lutheran General Hospital for a mammogram. And during the pandemic, I know a lot of us put off getting any sort of scheduled or regular exams. I have a family history of breast cancer, so I get nervous. As you get older, you think, well, I should pay attention to my body and go for my regular checkups. And having a family history, it's even more important that I stay on top of things. And there are so many things. There's so many incredible doctors and treatments now. If you catch something early, it is treatable. We often let things go, especially, and I know that everyone's guilty of this, but women, we often think, well, I've got too much going on. I have too much to do. But we often are the caregivers of providing food and meals and care for our kids, and we can't do that job to the best of our ability if we're not taking care of ourselves. And as I say that, my husband is the primary caregiver for our boys, and so I need to get on him as well to make sure he's taking care of himself and not getting mired down with all the things he has to do for the boys. Like today, he takes our son Declan, who I've talked about before, has physical therapy every Tuesday, and he has to drive out to the suburbs, and he's in traffic, and it adds up when you're running these errands, going to these appointments. You really do need to check in with yourself, whether it's getting your regular checkups or taking some time for yourself. We talk a lot about mental health and getting some me time. And please, take those, whether it's 5 minutes of meditation sometime during the day or just going for a walk. Do the things that you need to take care of yourself, because there's a lot going on. We get stressed out. Those also, again, great conversation about trying to fall asleep when Joan was talking about all the things, on our minds and trying to rest. A lack of sleep can have so many negative effects on your health. So let's take care of ourselves. Ron wants to join the conversation about things in the news. Hi, Ron. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. I just heard of the story about the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. Before when they were picking out the jury, they had all 18 names in a tumbler basket.
Right.
To pick out the 12 jurors. And the judge, instead of having the court clerk pick out the names, he had Kyle Rittenhouse himself pick out 6 names out of the basket. These are the alternate jurors. Is this typical? Isn't this kind of unusual?
I I'm with you. I've read that generally, as you said, a clerk picks the jurors out of that sort of little tumbler, right? And it does seem as though it's unusual. Right now, I'm quickly Googling whether or not it's typical. And from what I can see, a lot of people are surprised and questioning that move because, I guess I have never served on a jury. Have you ever served on a jury, Ron?
No, I came close, but no.
Came close. I the same thing for me. So I don't know, but it does seem weird. And what people are saying is that will there be a psychological effect on the jurors knowing that that he drew them? And it is every single thing that I am reading that comes up in these news pieces is that it is an unusual move. So. It just.
I didn't know. I can't see why the prosecutor didn't say something, object or something.
Right, because usually, look, I've done a lot of fundraisers. Let's use this as a comparison. And you usually, you want to give someone a spotlight when you're just like, hey, pick these names. Let's see who our winner is. So it's very strange to have the defendant, because he's a kid, and that's my sense of thing is the judge treating him like he's his nephew. Like, hey, kid, come on over here and pick these names out of a hat. Let's see who your lucky jurors are.
Yeah. What's going to happen when the jury's going to, come with his verdict? Is Kyle going to sit on the judge's lap and call him Daddy?
Right. Thank you, Daddy. Yeah, it is surreal.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Have a great evening. Take care, Ron. Jasmine, I owe you. Let's see. Jasmine's on hold. Jasmine, it's your birthday this week, and I totally thank you for reminding me by calling in to talk about something. Happy birthday.
Thank you. And I feel bad if I try to push people,
and you can ask the folks here at the station. They've been messaging me to have a meeting with one of our salespeople, and I'm terrible. You know what people have a hard time saying is I'm not sure yet, or I don't know, and then we forget. So I apologize. I've got to bring you to the station so you can check out this place too. It's not quite as glamorous as my other station, but it's so much more embracing, and the people here are wonderful. So I would love to show you around WCPT. Yep. What's on your mind?
So I wanted to talk, what seems like that it might be everyone's conversation today about this trial going on in Wisconsin. So I would be honest, right out of the gate, I haven't been following it obsessively because I don't want that bad energy in my life all the time.
Right.
I've been catching little snippets on the news and through Stephanie's show, and from the little bit that I can catch, I'm a little concerned, that proper justice won't be served the right way. I'm hoping that the jury will do what's in there, take a hard look at the evidence and do what they feel is right in their hearts.
Mm-hmm.
But
I agree.
From what I've been picking up on, it doesn't seem like it's very fair.
I don't think so either, but we also aren't in the jury box. The fact that they've been deliberating for just a couple hours now, and they have already asked they want to review the judge's directions. And I don't know if you were listening to Joan's show, but she was talking about how important that is because, he's very specific and says, pay very close attention to my directions, and they've asked to review that. So, clearly they didn't just go back into that room and said, oh, let's just let him go. So that I take that as a hopeful moment of, this isn't, they haven't predetermined it without having conversations, without walking through all the instructions. So what do you think about that?
Well, I have heard a lot of people saying that this judge may not be, that he may be trying to throw this case, and I really don't have much opinions on it because again, I'm not following it obsessively like that.
Right.
But again, from what I've been picking up on, I'm hoping that it ends well, but I don't know how serious it is. I mean, they've got troops deployed in Kenosha right now, so that could be a sign,
And I know that CPD has also canceled days off in anticipation of perhaps some unrest if the if the decision comes down in a way that people don't like, it's scary. And I hope that everyone is safe. I hope that level heads prevail. And I hope that justice is served. What's lost in all this, I think that so many of us have these opinions of what we hope will happen in this courtroom. And a lot of it, what is lost are the victims. We know about Kyle Rittenhouse. We know about all the people, whether it's gun folks or people who really think that driving from the Chicagoland area to go protect an empty parking lot. I mean, I've never felt the need to go protect a business. Jasmine, have you? Thinking that people might...
No, not really.
I've never thought it was my responsibility.
And it's not in our state. Like, I'd stay out of other states' business.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting yesterday. Former federal prosecutor Renato Mariotti was talking about how, he might have done the case differently and focusing on the fact that no one asked that kid to be there, and that seemed to be what the defense was able to hammer home over and over again, saying that he was asked to be there, and he felt it was his responsibility to help, and he's a medic. Only when he shot somebody, he wasn't one of the people that ran to help them. That's the other thing too, is whenever we see in different situations like this, where the person who says, I was just trying to help, or I was afraid for my life, they don't then afterwards go help that person. Mm-hmm.
Also, I did have a quick question. I haven't seen, apparently there's footage out there. Some of it probably leaked to TikTok, but I just scroll past those videos. Mm-hmm. So, does it look like can you tell if it looks like if he was trying to start stuff?
Well, I'm with you. I'm with you, Jasmine. I haven't gone over all the video or followed everything closely. Like, I watched the closing arguments for the prosecution yesterday and a little bit of the defense's closing statements, and that's really, and the prosecution showed some video, but for me it was hard to really see what he was trying to point to in that footage. But one of the witnesses, one of the people that was shot, said that he did raise his gun and point it toward Rittenhouse, which, again, Renato Mariotti said yesterday is hard to overcome for the prosecution. Once he has said that, how do you can't unring that bell of I did pose a danger to Rittenhouse, because that confirms the defense's stance that Rittenhouse was afraid for his life. So that's going to hurt, I think. So. I don't know where this case is going to go, but I'm hoping that it goes in the right direction. Right, and again, I hope that the families can find some peace. And somebody asked yesterday, can there be civil cases against him? And I would imagine that there will be. Jasmine, so what did you do to celebrate you're now 22? Is this right?
It's not until tomorrow.
Tomorrow's your birthday. You're going to be 22. I can't.
Yes, ma'am.
I can't believe I still remember all the conversations that we had while you were in high school, and telling us about how I've gotten to talk to you from high school and wanting to be politically involved. I talked to you the night that Donald.
And now I can stay up as late. The sad thing is I can stay up as late as I want now. On.
I'm not on the air in the middle of the night, but isn't this better? I love this.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I miss the longer shows,
I do miss that sort of pocket of the middle of the night when we had live music and conversations with business owners. But I can do that a little bit.
But now that I am old enough, in the future, I don't know if you still do those comedy shows, but I've never been to one.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I will be doing monthly shows at Zany's and at the Laugh Factory. So stay tuned for that. I believe I'll be appearing at Zany's December 27th for the Ladies of Laughter. And I would love to have you as my guest, Jasmine. And I'll find out about maybe doing some giveaways ahead of that, too.
Also, I'm sorry. I don't know if there's time, but there is one last quick thing I'd like to ask real quick for your
of course.
Audience. Mm-hmm. So I just want to know what the people of the radio think, because I feel like your community will be pretty honest. I've been having a bit of an argument with the family lately when it comes to my independence, because they are, I don't get me wrong, I get where they're coming from. Chicago can be a violent place, as I'm sure we all know, and they're concerned that I'm staying out later, being on the trains and stuff, and I get where they're coming from. I watch the news. I have citizens, but I don't live in fear. You know what I mean? Like, thinking that something will happen every time I go out is bad for you. And I feel like they're, concerned more, because I'm blind, and I feel like if I was sighted, I'd have more freedom. Like, But I'm about to be 22 now. Like, come on, let the leash go. I have life. I have photos to hang out with, night sailing to do.
I will ask the audience if anyone has this experience or any sort of words of wisdom for Jasmine and that she can use in these conversations with her family. And
I know you're a mom to a disabled child, so
right.
I was wondering if you have any thoughts.
I think that even with my son who is not challenged in any physical way, Griffin is 18. My younger son Declan, who we're talking about, is 16. For Declan, that's off the table only because he's not independent. But Griffin, it's hard for parents to let go, especially when they've had concerns that, or not just parents, but obviously your family members, your very close family members who are involved, have been so involved in your care and being there with you. It's hard for them to imagine. They have they're putting their fears that they have about their own lives, about you, and that's a lot of pressure for you, because I don't think they realize how much pressure they're putting on you to keep them happy, because really what you're doing by limiting your independence is placating them rather than experiencing life the way you would like to.
Right.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to see what the community thinks.
Yes. If anyone has any thoughts, please join our conversation. If you have some words of wisdom and some advice for Jasmine and how to have these conversations with her family because she wants more independence, give us a call, 773-763-WCPT. That's 773-763-9278. Jasmine, we're going to continue our conversation.
Have a good rest of your week. Maybe I'll pop in on Friday night.
Oh, excellent. And let me know, because I'm going to have Esmeralda's going to be at the station with me on Friday as my guest in studio. So let's figure out a time for you to come down here too, okay?
Thank you.
One, of course. Have a great celebration for your 22nd birthday, Jasmine. Enjoy.
Good night.
Cheers. Bye. Let me take a quick break here, and we'll get to your calls when we come back. Again, the number for everyone is 773-763-WCPT. That's 773-763-9278 to call or text us. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez, and I'm your host. That's me.
We've all been spending more time indoors than usual, but FinishingChicago.com has an offer to update your interior. Whether your space is residential or commercial, for a limited time you can save up to 25% on painting and decorating. FinishingChicago.com has the most dynamic interior spaces available from industry-leading union craftspeople. That's union quality, efficiency, and industry-leading expertise in your home or commercial space. Visit FinishingChicago.com to find a contractor in your area. This unprecedented access to union quality labor at a reduced rate is only available for a limited time. Revitalize your spaces with fine decorative upgrades applied by the most knowledgeable craftspeople in the industry. Whether it's a new color or transforming your walls into something truly special, our contractors have all the options. Take advantage of FinishingChicago.com's Update Your Interior savings before they're gone. For up to 25% off your new finish, start with FinishingChicago.com.
Hello, fellow progressives. Attorney Tony Moret here. You've been hearing from me for a few months now, and I've been hearing from you. As an estate planning attorney, I get a lot of questions. Estate planning can be confusing and sometimes a little scary. It's my job to guide you through the maze of paperwork, offer you options that best fit your family, and give you some peace of mind. The calls I've been getting from fellow WCPT listeners have been intelligent and thoughtful, exactly the kind of clients I cherish. Thank you for letting me draft your living trusts, wills, and protecting legacy for future generations. In my practice, facts matter, so advertising on WCPT is such a natural fit. Let me help you put together the right estate plan for your family, mindfully. Call me, Attorney Tony Moret, to schedule a free virtual consultation to keep all of us safe. 847-996-0496. That's 847-996-0496. Check out my website at moretlawoffice.com. Moret spelled M-O-R-E-E. And let's put your plan in motion.
Patti Vasquez is taking your calls now at 773-763-9278. Driving it home with Patti Vasquez now on WCPT 820.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us, and as we do our little drive time. And if you see that if you notice that our signal's getting weaker as the sun goes down, don't forget to download one of the apps that you can watch or listen to our show on. You know, if you have Facebook on your phone, you can always listen to our live stream. Go there right now. We've got our friends hanging out on our Facebook page. Like our Facebook page, so you can be up to date on all of the events and announcements that we have, some of the conversations going on, and sometimes we have giveaways. So we would love to have you join us there. And on YouTube, if you subscribe to our YouTube page, you'll get an alert every time we go live. And right now, Steve from the Gold Coast is live. Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for hanging in there. What's on your mind?
Yes, just want to make a couple of points with regard to the Rittenhouse case. And I, too, agree, you know, for people who don't understand, you know, depending upon where you're being tried, each state and or municipality can have its own sort of idiosyncratic traditions. Things like, you know, his choosing who's not going to be deliberating is apparently something that's pro forma there in that particular jurisdiction. So it's not something unique to this case. And it seems strange to the rest of us, but yeah, you know, they're entitled to do it the way that they want in Kenosha, Wisconsin, so, you know, to each his own. But there's nothing strange about this. Having said that, I do have the same sort of analysis that you do in that when a jury asks for clarification with regard to what the judge permits you to deliberate, with regard to charge, it's a sign that possibly they're considering some of the lesser included charges, which was something that came in late for those people who were following this. You know, so they're not. It's a sign from the standpoint of the prosecution. It means that you're probably not going to get, you know, the most egregious of charges, a conviction on those, but it does allow the jury to convict on lesser charges.
Right.
And keep in mind that you've got three separate individuals here who were either harmed or killed.
Exactly.
And, you know, it's possible that you can convict on one and not on another one. You know, this isn't an either-or situation. You know, it's possible that they can find that it was reasonable for him to have exercised self-defense here, but in this case, no, it's not, with regard to a different person. So, so there's all of these things at play. And quite frankly, though, you know, like a lot of other people, because, you know, this is a progressive station. You know, I don't like Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't like his politics. I don't like the people with whom he associates. But having said that, within the framework of the laws of Wisconsin, it becomes very difficult to convict him on the most egregious of charges. And we don't start bending the law because we don't like people, because if we start down that road, it's a dangerous path.
Right.
And I don't want to go down that road. So, Dan, I'm not sure how the jury's going to come in, but like you, I hope that people are reserved and accept the jury's verdict, whatever it is, because I don't think that a repeat of what happened in 2020 is the answer. I mean, people are entitled to protest, but violence, arson, anything else along looting, those are not things that fall into the realm of legitimate protest. You know.
Yeah, I think you made a lot of great points, and that's why I always talk about local government, why I'm so involved in paying attention to what goes on in Springfield and obviously in my own municipality of Chicago, the 45th Ward, because this is where we want our, whether it's our legislative or our judicial, there are things that we want reflected there, and we can't make an impact on that if we just wash our hands of it and don't participate and pay attention.
And I would ask people to consider, I mean, the Supreme Court is about to take up a case in which the issue of whether or not states should simply allow everyone to conceal carry is at stake. And, you know, basically right now you have may or shall, you know, allow or issue the right to carry in various states. And this is a New York case. Now, the court could just simply strike this down, the idea that the state has any role in your being able to conceal carry a weapon. And therefore, as long as you can legally possess a weapon in your home, it means you can carry it to the supermarket, to a bar, wherever you want.
Right.
And unfortunately, this case is emblematic of the problem, because this is as much about the bad public policy that exists, because you can't convict people in a state that says that you can do X, Y, and Z with a gun.
Right.
And then say, oh, but when somebody does it, then we're going to convict them of a crime. You can't have it both ways. I mean, the public policy here is as much to blame as the people like Rittenhouse.
Exactly. I think again, you make great points. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate your input. Thanks, Steve. Have a great night. Heather in Michigan. Hi, Heather. Hanging out on Facebook with everybody. How are you doing?
I'm good.
That's good to hear from you.
Okay. I just went and looked up the fact that they dropped the gun charge.
Yes.
And I went and I looked about something, the wording in the law,
Mm-hmm.
and it just...
I know.
It was illegal. His friend bought it for him. Why isn't his friend on trial as well?
Oh, a lot of people have questions.
His mother.
Exactly.
We won't even go there.
Yeah, right?
His friend and his mother, but,
Well,
I read it, and I'm like, oh, my God.
I know. And that goes to Steve's point about the laws in Wisconsin and what the judge decided was appropriate or not appropriate as far as the charges and the stock of the gun, how long the stock was, and whether or not he could have that as part of Wisconsin law. So that he decided that it was not an appropriate charge. I know, but that's it. I think,
and
so many stories
also,
end that way.
I also was doing something else, and I looked, and someone who is a lawyer or something, I think his name is Julius Kim, he flat out said that if there was going to be a judge change, it would have had to have been a lot sooner than yesterday.
Yep.
So,
Well, and if you listen to Joan's show, again, she had Renato on yesterday, and he was talking about, look, judges are human. Some of them have bad tempers. Some of them are, reasonable and even keeled. I mean, you're going to have a different judge. You never know if another one could be worse, too. That's the other thing. We always think, as long as it's not this judge. You don't know. It's just it's a crapshoot sometimes. I know. Here, let's take a break, and I'll tell you a story about a judge. If you want to hang on for a minute, we can talk about judges, or I'll let you go and take some more calls. But I've got to run to traffic.
Okay.
All right. Hold on one second, Heather. I'll be right back. Let's go get some traffic updates and some messages from the station on Driving It Home with your host, me, Patti Vasquez, 773-763-9278. Give us a call or a text and join the conversation.
Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive on WCPT Willow Springs is powered by ComEd. Lower your energy bills and reduce your carbon footprint with the ComEd Energy Efficiency Program.
You're listening to WCPT 820. Here's the latest Chicago traffic update.
On Chicago's west side, Roosevelt Road blocked between St. Louis and Homan Avenues with a shooting investigation. Now, in Joliet, there's a reported officer-involved shooting. That's at Center and Jefferson. Steer clear. East I-80, the exit ramp to southbound I-57 is closed with a rolled over semi. Eden's in from Lake Cook Road 36, hitting the brakes at Dempster. Now the Kennedy out to the split 26-23 in the Express 47 to O'Hare. Inbound at Armitage, now word of a crash. O'Hare back in hour 5, 34 of that on in from the junction. Pike outbound busy to Mannheim 53 minutes to 390. Inbound's an hour and 8. Stevenson outbound from DuSable Lakeshore Drive to 355 and 55. Inbound also 55 at LaGrange Road, a crash in the center lane. That's traffic. I'm Mary DeBadges.
Mucinex Extended Release Bilayer tablets allow for immediate and extended release, relieving chest congestion for 12 hours. Plus, Mucinex is eligible for any leftover HSA, FSA funds. Look for Mucinex, the #1 OTC brand doctors trust. Available at Target.
Now streaming on Paramount Plus.
This is a company town, and the business is incarceration.
A new original series from the co-creator of Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan.
Your influence within the prisons is unique.
Jeremy Renner.
We don't break the law, we bend it.
Diane Wiest.
You fix-it men, part-time gangsters.
And Kyle Chandler.
If you want to know who's running what, come to me. I'm the mayor of Kingstown.
Mayor of Kingstown, now streaming on Paramount Plus. Go to ParamountPlus.com to try it for free.
If you don't have final expense insurance, this message is for you. Life Care provides valuable whole life insurance to help cover final expenses, medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance, available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. Call Life Care at 800-956-0683. 800-956-0683.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
We know you're not quick with opinions, but
beyond your tight circle of friends. But that's why people listen whenever you choose to weigh in. You've been a clear voice of reason, careful when choosing words. But now that it's down to what's right and what's wrong, it's time for that voice to be heard.
That's some music from Chris Jones, musician. He's an incredible bluegrass musician, songwriter, and we had him in studio a few weeks ago. I feel like that song was written for the show, Lady B, because we do need to hear from you. And I've asked Heather to hang on for a minute. We were having a conversation. Heather's calling from Michigan. We were talking about judges and you know, we wish, whether or not we wish in this case, in the Rittenhouse case, if he'd been replaced earlier. And I was referring to Renato Mariotti on Jones' show yesterday, where he talked about, you know, we have this sort of, Heather, don't you think we sort of have this impression that judges are almost superhuman, whether it's based on pop culture or, you know, what it takes to become a judge, or we have this idea of the Supreme Court. Don't you think we kind of have a little bit of that, Heather?
I do.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I was in grad school, a friend of mine went out for the evening with some friends. He'd called a bunch of his friends and said, hey, we should go out and, you know, hang out and go to this bar and stuff. And they got into a little bit of a scuffle on the dance floor at this bar. And the guys who were sort of by the bar determined to have started it were thrown out of the bar. While they were outside, they grabbed whatever they could, like a lead pipe and some bricks, and they waited for my friend and his friends to leave the bar, and they beat them, and they beat my friend to death. And the judge who was presiding over the case essentially gave the boy that was determined to have dealt the lethal blows. The judge essentially said, when I was a boy, we got into trouble like this, and I was lucky nobody died, and basically gave him a slap on the wrist. So these things happen, Heather, and it happens across the country. It happens in a lot of different cases and in ways that we won't always know. And so that's just my personal experience about why I pay so much attention and try to follow judges' races, see what's written about them, see what the bar writes about them. And so I am not, because of that, I was so young when that happened. It's almost 30 years now. I just am not surprised when we see judges like this, I guess. I'm a little cynical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And not all of them are going to be, you know, not all of them are always good. And
right, and not all of them are all bad. Right. Go ahead.
Not all of them are bad, but years ago, my dad lived in Cass County, Michigan. I lived with him. I don't remember how old, but he unfortunately got pulled over for a traffic ticket. Mm-hmm. And then they decided to start asking him about child support, which he didn't know.
What?
Because I lived with him.
Okay.
Yeah. They started asking him about child support.
Oh my God.
I mean, they ran his plate. They did everything. There was nothing wrong. And they asked him about child support. Mm-hmm. And then he got called, or he got sent to the jail for a short time,
right,
for a minute or two, because somebody went and bailed him.
Right.
But he told me the next day, he said, well, you know, he told the judge, when he went before the judge, he said, I don't know the child support. The judge was cool about that. And then the judge, the route that he took to go somewhere, when he got that ticket, mm-hmm, the judge went out at night, the same time my dad was driving back, and he drove the same route, and he said, I had that same problem.
Oh.
And I couldn't, you know, I guess he couldn't see something, or who knows what happened. But this judge said, there's got to be something done about that.
Oh, wow.
But, and we'd had the, you know, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, me too.
And then years ago, or years after that, I ran into him because I worked for Child and Family Services, and they had the same judge. And I thought, oh, my God, you had my dad went before he used the bill for something.
What?
He just sat there and he laughed.
Yeah. Oh, that's wild. That's a great story.
But yeah, I thought, there are some decent judges out there, too.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Yep.
All right. Well,
Thank you for sharing that. That was great, Heather. Have a great night.
You too.
Thanks. Talk to you soon. Mary. Hi, Mary in Elk Grove Village. What's on your mind?
Hey, Patty. Well, of course, this Rittenhouse case,
Yep.
which I find very ironic that this case is being tried at the very same time that Ahmaud Arbery.
Yes.
Okay, and the perpetrators, the people who walked away that night or that day with rifles, all claim self-defense.
Yeah.
Okay?
Even though he wasn't doing anything to them, he was out for a run. He was looking at a property or whatever.
Just running, and we saw what he was wearing, T-shirt and shorts. There was no packs, no holster or anything.
Right.
And I just think of George Zimmerman.
Yeah, oh yeah?
And
Trayvon Martin.
Just walking home, little kid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, was he 14 years old?
Something like that, with a hoodie on, and wasn't it like some candy? Yeah, Skittles.
Skittles, okay, which happens to be my mother's favorite candy. From she'd always keep a pack in her purse for the little ones, because she would try and bribe the babies with the Skittles. And they came a running. So that stuck with me. And 14-year-old kid. I don't care how tall they are. It's a 14-year-old baby. And he was killed, and this grown-ass man with a gun said he was defending himself, and he got off. So I'm not hopeful with this Rittenhouse case. We're not going to see what we want to see. I understand law is law, and we have to, whatever the law is in Wisconsin, we have to go and abide with that.
Right.
But he showed up with an AR-15, and so right there, you kind of wonder. What was your mindset, okay? And as far as one of the victims, he was armed, okay? So maybe you have a case there. And then we have video of the other guy with the skateboard. We're not exactly sure what the circumstances were beforehand. I believe this was after he had witnessed Rittenhouse shooting someone else, and he attacked him. So maybe that is self-defense. But talk to me about the one who was unarmed.
Right.
Okay, really? Self-defense? Young man with no weapons, and you have an AR-15, and you feel your life is threatened?
Right.
Give me a break. But
And we're all Monday quarterbacks, right? Monday morning quarterbacks. With none of us with any legal experience watching this unfold. And look, you mentioned the Trayvon Martin. For me, I think that was the first time I had ever heard or learned about the stand your ground that was in places like Florida and Texas, where if people feel threatened, that they were legally able to defend themselves with whatever means available.
that is crazy, because I thought that if someone in this state, if someone is breaking into your house, you're not allowed to shoot them. If they are breaking into your house, you are not allowed to shoot them until they come into your house.
Right.
Am I wrong?
Every state, I think, is different as far as what it means to stand your ground, because George Zimmerman wasn't in his home. He was,
No, I'm talking Illinois. I'm talking Illinois, that if someone is breaking into your house, I grew up hearing the phrase, you better pull them in your house before you shoot them, because you cannot shoot someone who is attempting to break into your house. It's not until they have actually broken in that you can defend yourself. That's what I heard. I don't know, and laws change all the time, but I'm curious to see how this unfolds. It's so unfortunate. And I said to Lady B, when I saw this happen, I don't know what kind of household he grew up in, but it's a 17-year-old kid. He's still a baby, and what were they teaching him? His life is ruined. I mean, his life is forever changed. What were you teaching this child? What were you allowing this child to participate in? I don't understand it. And there is some back and forth as to whether or not that mother drove him there.
Right.
I was trying to find the article. I can't anymore. But I have read that he was not driven by his mother. But even still, I actually took the time to look up this date. This was a Thursday night, and he's 17 years old. I actually have a 17-year-old. I know where my 17-year-old is on a school night.
You know, that's a great point you're making, because remember with Adam Toledo, everyone was like, well, where was his mother? Everyone was saying, yep.
That is always my question. Well, where was your mother? Why aren't you life circumstances, it's all different, but I always want to know where my kids are.
Me too.
Thursday night, you're home.
Mm-hmm.
No. But then let's just see also what plays out in Georgia with the Aubrey trial.
Yeah.
Because he was hunted. And you brought something up, Patty, that we are not paying attention to judges.
Yep. Pay attention.
How do we do that?
Well, when there are elections, the primary way really is the only way we can have an impact and have conversations with people attend. Like I'm going to a meeting tonight in the neighborhood. There's the 41st Ward, 39th Ward, and 50th Ward are having an event at Dino's on the northwest side, and they'll talk about some of the candidates. I believe some of the candidates for different positions will be presenting, whether it's state rep and judicial candidates. Find out where there are judicial events. What you live in Elk Grove Village? Let me, you know what I'll try to do? I'll start putting together some of the events coming up where these organizations do their slating and endorsement sessions, so you can hear what a judge's background is. Like I know when the 45th Ward Dems were having these meetings, I was part of in those meetings, and anyone can go, and the candidates will give you their resume essentially, and give you a little bit of their background, how they became an attorney, what led them into law, why they believe they will make a good judge, and that's one way we can do it. And I'm sure that those are now being done online. So that's one way. Find out what the Bar Association has to say. If you have anybody that's involved in the legal system, maybe ask them what their thought. Hey, have you ever been in front of this judge? Those kinds of things.
That's what was ticking around in my brain. Should we involve the judicial, the legal system, the lawyers, the current judges? Should we involve them more in promoting and electing these judges, because they know better. Lawyers know what this judge is going to be like getting in front of. Like, this one, forget it. I mean, might as well just plead out. I mean, they must know their temperament and their history. It's just not. I hate to say it, it's just not sexy enough for us to pay attention to
until we're angry about a judge in Kenosha. So
exactly. And then you just sit there like, I like that last name. Okay.
Yes.
I like that last name.
I want a woman. I want a Latina. I want an Irish person, or it's Italian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We all have our things.
But we have no idea who they are.
No. We've got to.
No.
I'll start having some judicial candidates on the show too, to have conversations so we can learn more about the process and people who are involved in the campaigns for justices, and I appreciate that. We'll have more conversations and talk to them.
We have to pay attention, and we may just have to do a little bit more legwork and do a little bit more research to know who we're voting for instead of just checking off a name.
Exactly. All the way down the ballot. Have a great night, Mary. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Let's take a break here and catch up with some messages from the station. And we've got the phone lines full. But if you want to try and get in, you can give us a text at 773-763-9278. That's 773-763-WCPT. More in a moment.
A Better Life with Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
Ready or not, it's time for many of us to head back to the office. Or it will be soon. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. I think it's fair to say we all learned a lot about our coworkers and ourselves working from home this past year. We've come to realize the things that make us tick and the things that set us off. We discovered better, clearer ways to communicate, since so much of what was happening was over email and instant messaging apps. The key to avoiding issues turned out to be using words that are objective and non-judgmental to explain what we want or need done. Examples were helpful as well. And here's one thing I like that I hope we can keep going at least for a while. Build in some time for small talk at the beginning or end of meetings. We humans are social creatures that crave that kind of interaction after all. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
Doesn't your family deserve the best? Eggland's Best Eggs. Classic, cage-free, and organic. Give you and your family more. More delicious, farm-fresh taste. Plus, superior nutrition. Compared to ordinary eggs, Eggland's Best provides 6 times more vitamin D, 10 times more vitamin E, and 25% less saturated fats. These are no ordinary times, so why choose an ordinary egg? Only Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Lowe's Provember event is back, and we're thanking pros like you all month long. So when you become a Pro Loyalty member, now through November 24th, you'll get a welcome kit via mail, Lowe's bucket included. It's all part of Provember, going on online and in stores. Lowe's, the new home for pros. New accounts only. More terms and conditions apply while supplies last. Visit Lowes.com/ProLoyalty for details. U.S. only.
You're listening to Driving at Home, and I'm your host, Patti Vasquez. I want to get to a couple of texts before we get to those listeners on hold. We've got Roosevelt, Dave, and Brad on hold. And from the 773, this goes back to Jasmine's question about if anyone has advice for her and how to be a little more independent. Her family's very worried about her when she goes out. She's legally blind and is concerned that they're being overly protective. And the 773 says Jasmine should probably consider that whether you're blind or not, whether you're male or female, you should probably not be out alone. And that is scary. Jasmine was talking about how, you can't always live in fear. And I have always been around people who don't want me to leave, like from the station. They're like, make sure you're with somebody when I leave a comedy club at night. So I just want Jasmine to know there are always going to be people that tell us that we shouldn't be out alone. They'll want to walk us to our car. And you have people in your life who are being that cautious and concerned. And you'll always have people in your life that are like that. So I think it's a matter of managing their expectations and yours. And I feel you, Jasmine. We were talking about stand your ground and when you can use deadly force. This is from the 646, who says they're an attorney. For some basic clarity, most states do not allow you to use deadly force to protect property. Second, self-defense in most states has to match the threat. If you're under deadly threat, then deadly defense is warranted. If not, then deadly force is not okay. So that's a thought from some comments from the 646. And Brad from Elk Grove is on the line. Hey, Brad, what's on your mind?
I think I heard something on the Santita Jackson show, and you may consider it that they were talking about it, but it may sound like a conspiracy theory, but they were lending credence to the idea that this prosecutorial misconduct in the Rittenhouse case is intentional because they may be setting up the trial for a mere slap on the wrist for Kyle Rittenhouse as a method to chill and quell protest in Kenosha and Wisconsin. The idea that someone could walk around with, even illegally, with an AR-15 and not get charged for it like Rittenhouse, that's going to embolden a whole bunch of,
anybody
advocates.
Right. Who's to say they can point to this case and say, hey, well, I was afraid for my life, so I carry this weapon, and who's to say in different situations that hey, Rittenhouse said he felt afraid for his life. I felt afraid for my life. This person did something that scared me, and I think it's a scary path to be on.
And the other part about this that I think we need to think about, two things. The jury was not sequestered. And they're going to listen to the opinions of their acquaintances and family members. The other part is that prosecutor lives in that community. And this guy Rittenhouse is a hero. He is a hero to many people on the far right. And you know how much money they ponied up for his defense. And the thing is, I'm guessing that may chill the prosecutor's desire to seek justice at the potential threat to his own life.
Right. That's a good point, too. Interesting.
Yeah, so it would not surprise me that he gets a slap on the wrist and some wealthy, right-wing benefactor makes him live, has him living a life of luxury.
Oh, man. You're right. I feel like we're going into conspiracies, but it's hard not to wonder about having to live in that community if he prosecutes, if he's successful in prosecuting him. Thank you so much for your thoughts. What were we going to say, Brad? Go ahead.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Have a good night. Let's go to Roosevelt. Hey, Roosevelt. How are you doing tonight?
Patty, thank you for taking my call.
Of course.
As far as I'm concerned, this has already been tainted. And let me tell you why. I said part of it yesterday. How did the judge come about to determine that the guys that he shot or killed and wounded were arsonists and what was the other word?
Rioters?
Rioters.
Yeah.
But so what I'm getting at is in every incident there's always a good guy and a bad guy. So then who's the good guy here?
Right.
The kid with the kid with the most powerful weapon in that particular incident.
Well,
and here's another thing. Why is it that he has a right to defend himself, but not the guy that pointed the gun at him? You see what I'm saying?
You just made me think of something. Here's my question. There were police officers there. Why? How was he the only person that was afraid for their life? How come there were no other police officers or anybody else that was there in order to keep the peace? How did he happen to find the several dangerous people in that group?
You answered your own question earlier by naming the kid on 26th Street. The officer was afraid of his life. Well, what color skin was the kid? Brown. Mm-hmm. So there's your answer. You answered your own question earlier. Because the kid is white, he gets privilege of walking around with a more powerful weapon. I don't buy that idea of self-defense. So then let's raise the ante here. Let's say there's two guys, him and his buddy, okay, and then two guys that were that have guns. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy? Who determines that?
Exactly.
You see my point?
Yeah.
You see my point? And then here's the thing. In all of this, nobody's mentioned one particular facet of this. You know, benefits aside from other nuts that are going to get the idea. That's the National Rifle Association.
Sure does.
So then the sales are going to go up. And since when anybody in Wisconsin asks a guy in Illinois that's a true blue state for any kind of help when it comes down to a riot or whatever you want to call it, you know? So that's my point. Why is it that the guy that carried the gun and pointed at him, how is he the person that deserves to get shot, but not him? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. How was that other person not afraid for their life? And they should have been, because Kyle Rittenhouse pulled the trigger. They were.
Yeah, it's upside down. It's upside down.
That's a great way to put it. It is upside down. Yep.
It's upside down. And the judge already influenced the jurors by saying that those guys were rioters.
Oh, yeah. He taints it.
Wrong.
I know.
Totally wrong. And then, you know what this reminds me of, too? It reminds me of a husband that beats his wife. And the husband's reason is, you made me do it.
Yeah, Okay, let's not go down this path. We can talk about that sometime too. But I've been in a situation. No, I've been in an abusive situation, in an emotionally abusive situation, where a man has said, "You make me crazy. I love you so much. You make me behave this way." So you're not wrong. But for me, that's a whole conversation I could have. But I've got one more person on hold. I've got to get to Dave real quick because I wanted to make sure I got to both of you. Thanks, Roosevelt. Have a good night. Absolutely, Dave. I'm trying to get you in here under the wire. What's that? I know you wanted to change topics real quick. What's on your mind?
Yeah, a little bit, because the other stuff we've been going on with, and it's like the barrel length actually, and then he was killed with a shotgun, not a rifle. But Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
I said, who is he? Is he Otis Campbell from Andy Griffith Show? He just got to check in the morning and stuff like that.
I know.
Whereas if you look back at Susan McDougal, she was put away for contempt for not answering Ken Starr's witch hunt that time on Whitewater and stuff.
Right. Yeah, no, they want to make their own rules.
How much
for
a witch hunt? And real quick on that jury with if they come and find Rittenhouse guilty, is that judge going to come out and scream at the jurors like he did at the prosecutor?
That's a hey, interesting point. I love. Well, we'll find out. We might know tomorrow, and we'll continue our conversation. Thank you so much, Dave. I know you were patient on hold. I appreciate it. You too. Everyone, be well. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you, Lady B, and everyone here at WCPT. We'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have a guest on to talk about housing in Oak Park. I'm excited to talk to our friend Alicia. And we'll find out more about the work that she's doing there. And have a great night, everybody. Here comes the Rick Unger Show. Bye.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Tooth 19. I can't believe I'm watching my brother, Tooth 30, get his first root canal today. I told him that black hole didn't look pretty,